You know, they say the best way to never become addicted to drugs is to never try drugs in the first place. We now have a drug addicted stock market. It's addicted to the two most powerful drugs out there, quantitative easing and very low interest rates. And this market cannot function without these two drugs. And without these injections, this market goes into very, very deep withdrawals. And so it continually is injecting itself with more money printing, more low rates, as we're going to continue to see more QE and lower rates going to zero and possibly even lower. And just like the drug addict who overdoses, this market is going to overdose. And when it does overdose, it's going to die. And you better be prepared for the ramifications that are coming when this stock market hits rock bottom. It's Thursday, August 8th, 2019. I apologize about not getting a video out last night, but unfortunately I had no power here from morning till night. Cable was out, internet was out, even some people's phone service was out, so could not do anything. And so today we're up and running, have power. I made a few notes regarding some things that have happened over the last 24 hours. I want to go over them with you. And one of them is going back to the Dow Jones yesterday. It was down 589 points at one time and closed only 22 points down. I mean, we witnessed the plunge protection team or some entities come in and boost this market back up. And they had to be working all day to get this to happen. And a couple nights, I think it was a couple nights prior, the Dow futures were down 650, and the market closes up 311 or 322 points, 322 points. So a couple nights prior, we're down 650 in the futures. We closed 322 points up. I mean, it's literally a 1,000-point turnaround. So the volatility that we're seeing is absolutely amazing. What we know right now, witnessing this volatility, witnessing the plunge protection team coming in and doing everything they can to make sure in the past few days that this market just didn't seize up and get even worse. What we know now is that we have a very weak dollar. Gold is outperforming the dollar. It's outperforming the euro, the yen, the yuan. It's outperforming every currency in the entire world. Gold right now at a 6-year high. Pulled back a little bit today. Silver pulled back a little bit today. But again, tons of manipulation taking place. Dow Jones was up, I believe, about 371, 375 points today, all based on nothing but bad news. We are no closer with China in an agreement. We continue to see more violence erupting throughout the globe, and we're just getting more negative statistics, more negative feedback on what's happening here in the U.S. economy and the global economy as it continues to slow down. Yet the Dow Jones up over 370 points. Say, figure it out. How much manipulation is taking place? And please comment down below. I want to know your thoughts. Are we witnessing major manipulation taking place in these markets? Is this the plunge protection team coming in? Is this the 6 major banks in New York coming in, buying these markets? What is going on? Is this corporate more money going to corporate buybacks, pushing stocks back up? What is going on? I'd like to know what you think, because I don't think anybody knows 100% for certain how it's being done. I believe it's the plunge protection team coming in. I believe it's the banks coming in. Could be corporate buybacks coming in and buying. So please comment down below. Let me know what you think. Here's another fact that I think we all know. I think most of you all know. The Fed is running out of ammo. It has 200 basis points left. They're going to run that right to zero. And we all know what comes next, quantitative easing. So the ammo gets eaten up. 200 basis points gone. We're at zero. QE comes in. And at that point, you're going to witness the overdose take place in these markets. The patient no longer is reacting to the drugs, and the patient is going to overdose. They are running out of time, they're running out of drugs, and they're running out of ideas. We are on very limited time now, And, just think, they were talking about maybe even having an emergency rate cut today. And I'm sure that helped the markets too, because the markets know that more rate cuts are on the way. The markets just believe if they get into trouble, the Fed is going to come in and save them. But what the markets don't understand is the Fed is running out of ammo. It's running out of answers. The Fed is broke. And so at some point, reality is going to come into these markets. And unfortunately, many people are not going to like reality when they find out the true asset values in these markets, the true price of stocks, bonds, real estate, etc. People are not going to like reality, but I promise you, reality is coming. They may keep the markets propped up for a little longer, but we are right now witnessing major deterioration in this economy, which they cannot hide. They can mix and dice and chop up these numbers any way they want. But at the end of the day, every one of us goes out, drives around, we see the for sale signs, we see the lease signs, we see the going out of business signs, we see the vacant buildings, we see vacant commercial real estate popping up everywhere. And just in fact, literally a couple minutes from where I'm sitting right now, there is a Kmart that has been around forever. It is now closing. They're having a liquidation sale, now closing. Burberry in Palm Desert on El Paseo, affluent shopping area, another affluent upscale retailer closing shop. So Burberry in Palm Desert now closed. So we're continuing to see this erosion, and you can't hide vacant buildings. You can't hide stores going out of business, restaurants going out of business. You can't hide resorts that just don't have a lot of people sitting at the pool. You just can't hide these things. Yeah, you can hide numbers, and you can mix and match numbers on a piece of paper, and you can manipulate. But at the end of the day, when I go out in public, when I go to a retail shopping center or mall, or I drive down certain areas and I see nothing but for sale signs, for lease signs, and vacant buildings, I can tell you for a fact things are slowing down, and they're going to continue to get much worse. This is just the beginning. Things haven't even gotten messy yet. When I think about not having any cable yesterday, not having internet service, I went to Winco, which is a huge grocery store chain. It's a huge, just multiple thousands of square feet. It's like the size of Costco, but it's just a grocery store. Some of you probably know what Winco is, but it's just a huge, huge store. And I love the store. I think they do a great job there. It's well stocked, very clean. Anyways, I was there today. All refrigeration was down. So couldn't even shop there today, right? So yesterday, no cable, no internet, some people no phone. Today, no refrigeration, could not shop. And you think just how fragile this grid is, that what would we do if refrigeration just at the grocery stores went down? We're in big trouble. What if your refrigeration went down? How do we communicate without phones, without internet? How do we get news without cable? Your world changes. And so for 10 hours yesterday, 10 or 12 hours, whatever it was really difficult to not have my computer, not to have access to the news. I did have my phone, which worked. We are so dependent, on these luxuries. And what happens if something happens to the grid? What if there's a cyber attack? What if there's some other act, some evil act that takes place and your grid goes down? Now you don't have air conditioning. Now your stores don't have refrigeration. Now your house doesn't have refrigeration. So, we really have to start really thinking outside the box here and making sure that we're prepared for the worst case scenario. I ran into somebody I know today, great guy, good friend of mine, and he was just joking around with me a little bit, and he goes, "Man, your show is really depressing." And I said, the facts are the facts. I'm just telling you the truth. I'm just giving you a dose of reality. And so, we can take it as negativity, or we can take it as a wake-up call that we need to be getting ready for this storm. I don't know how many times, I can say this, but if a hurricane is coming, are you just going to sit at the beach and twiddle your thumbs and just hope it goes away? Or are you going to get out of the way of the storm? Are you going to prepare for the storm? And are you going to survive the storm? If you stand there at the beach and hope it's going to go away, you're going to be taken out to sea and you're done. If you're smart and you use your head and you can look yourself in the eyes and you're an honest human being, you're going to say, look, I'm going to survive. So I'm not going to just stay here at the beach. I'm going to get inland. I'm going to get prepared. I'm going to hunker down. I'm going to, hatch up the windows and bolt everything down because we're heading into a storm. I mean, that's just common sense. It's not to be depressing, but it's to be real. I live in the real world, and I don't want to see anybody being swept away with this storm. I don't want to see you swept out to sea and be a casualty of this economic collapse. So, this isn't to scare you, but this is to wake you up, and you should be very concerned with what's happening to your country, what's happening in this economy. Here's a reason why. I'm not making this up. This is on Zero Hedge today. Uber lost $5.25 billion in the second quarter. Is that not concerning to some people? Do you know how many people's second side hustle is driving for Uber? A lot of people are side hustling with Uber right now, and they're bleeding. So this is concerning. If Uber runs into trouble, what happens to people, that have their second or third job driving for Uber? It's a problem. It is not a good sign. Here's another one. Canada housing market is cooling. We've known that for a while. The IMF said persistent market imbalances remain a key domestic risk factor. A rise in unemployment and a collapse in consumption could spark additional risk. We're starting to see that right now. As I continue to see more and more stores going out of business. Fortunately, there's a lot of credit running here in America, keeping the lights on. But Canada's heading into very, very big trouble. The average household is holding massive debt, and their housing market is completely overvalued. And when it cools down, it's going to come down very, very hard in Canada. Here's another article. This is on automotivenews.com, and this came out back in 2018, but it's pretty relevant right now because the numbers are about the same. Over 20% of auto loans right now in America are subprime. Delinquencies right now today are at a 19-year high. As you know, 7 million people have not made an auto payment in over 90 days. And I know people who have gone in, bought a car, and didn't even have to fill out a credit check, okay? Did not have to fill out a credit check, got a car, and drove off the lot with the car. So how many people, so we have 20% of the auto market now doing subprime loans. So 20% of all loans in the auto industry are subprime. How many people are not even doing a credit check and just driving off with cars? I know 2 people have done this already. So, I believe this number is probably, there are people that probably shouldn't be driving cars off the lot that do not qualify, that they're making qualified to drive off with these cars because they've got to move these cars. They're still sitting on brand new 2018s. 2020s are coming in. So they're basically just, if you have a pulse, or if they hold a mirror over your mouth and it shows that you're breathing, they're probably going to give you a car. And so we have people taking on more debt that shouldn't be taking on debt. And I see big trouble ahead with that. We have massive trouble here with the U.S. Yield curve being inverted. We are inches away from the 2-year and 10-year inverting. Right now, I just checked about 30 minutes ago, the 2-year was at 1.61, the 10-year at 1.71. If this doesn't concern you, then you are in a coma. These are all massive warning signs. Here's another article. This is floating all over the internet. One of the nation's largest car haulers files for bankruptcy. Kansas City, Missouri. Jack Cooper's Ventures filed bankruptcy August 6th. They have 2,000 workers. This is the nation's largest car hauler. So you don't think there's a problem in auto sales? Take a look at this. Here it is. So they're saying that most of these workers are going to find jobs somewhere else. I hope that they do. CNBC today, Walgreens closing 200 stores. JCPenney's stock today was down to 62 cents. They are on life support. As I said earlier, the Kmart by my house liquidation sale. They are done. They are closing shop. Burberry on El Paseo and Palm Desert, affluent shopping area, they're already gone. So it continues to just get worse. And every one of you must be preparing. As I've said, you need to be acquiring hard assets. There is no currency that is beating gold, period. Gold is ahead. Gold is the standard. It is outperforming every currency in the world. 6-year highs. Silver is going to have its day. I completely believe that. And silver absolutely on sale today. But the metals in general are completely on sale as they are undervalued and being ignored. Ignored by the general population, not being ignored by the central banks, not being ignored by China or Russia or India or multiple other countries in the world, and not being ignored by the wealthy, but it's being ignored by the average Joe Blow who thinks everything is good, continues to buy paper, save cash. These devaluing assets are not going to be there for you when you need them. I'm not a financial advisor or planner, just telling you how I think and how I'm looking at it. And please comment down below. Give me your thoughts on that. What are you doing to prepare? Is it cash? Is it cryptos? Is it gold, silver? Of course, I believe all preps need to be topped off, and especially security. This was an interesting article. I'm going to close with this. Maryland police shot a 61-year-old man who was being served with a red flag order. So they came to take his weapon, and he didn't want to give it up, and so now he is deceased. And so are we going to see more of these red flag laws taking effect throughout the country? As we know, many politicians do not want people armed here in America. It's amazing that they can send the police to somebody's house, they will take your life, yet we have people from all over the world just running into America unchecked, unvetted, and they're going to want complete background checks for you. Here in California, it's a background check just to buy a box of ammo. Yet you can walk over this border, come right in from anywhere in the world, and be unchecked, and that's okay. But I need to have a full background check with the Department of Justice in order to buy a box of ammo, yet somebody can just walk in here and that's okay. I don't understand what is happening, but we are just in a time here in America that we're in, I think, very, very serious trouble. We are heading into very uncharted waters, very deep water. And for anybody out there who is not preparing for the unexpected, who's not preparing for chaos, I feel sorry for you, because I think you're going to be in a very, very bad position at some point here in the near future. But I'm going to leave it on that note. Many things happening. Again, Dow Jones up around 377 points today, all on negative financial news across the globe. So how manipulated are these markets? They're brutally manipulated. This kind of news right here, in a free market, we would see massive devastation today. Yet the market goes up on all this bad news. Not just bad news here, but bad news across the globe. So major manipulation taking place. This is allowing you the opportunity and the time to keep preparing, to keep acquiring hard assets, to top off your preps, to train, walk closer to God, spend more time with your family, have a plan, and just really educate yourself and get in the mindset that bad things are coming to America. They're already here. It's already begun. Take every day you have as an opportunity to continue to prepare. This is not negativity. This is not to scare anybody, but this is a warning that you need to be very, very concerned about for your own survival, your own future, your family's future, financially, physically, and spiritually. God bless every one of you. Make sure you continue to pray for this great country, and make sure you continue to prepare. Talk to you very soon.